Sounds like Sealants.
All right, we're good to go.
Okay, the Protection and Policy Meeting for December 9th, 2019 is now in session. Roll call, Alder Stevens.
Here.
Alder Vanderleest.
Here.
Alder Stoyer.
Here.
And Alder Scannell is present. We are all here. Hail, hail.
Okay.
I'm waiting. Okay. I'll take a motion to approve our agenda.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Alder Vanderleest.
Second.
Second by Alder Stevens. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Oppose it? We have an agenda for the night. Take your time, do what you need to do.
Thanks. And then that's it?
Yep.
I'm charging you by the hour.
One more. I don't know if it's someone. Okay.
Take a motion to approve our minutes for November 25th meeting.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Alder Stevens.
Second.
Seconded by Alder Vanderleest. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Our minutes from our last meeting have been approved.
Okay.
Okay.
On to regular business. Number 1, consideration with possible action on a request by Harp and Eagle Ltd., St. Brendan's Inn at 234 South Washington Street to temporarily extend their licensed premises to the parking lot on March 14th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., March 15th noon to 4 p.m., and March 17th 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. for St. Patrick's Day events. Staff.
Staff has no objections. We would defer to PD.
PD knows that they always have tents and security, so we have no objections.
Yeah, they do this every year. They do a good job.
And it's worked out over the last number of years.
Yes, very well. They're very secure
Okay.
and make sure they follow all the laws.
Can I get a shirt and bigora?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Alder Stoyer,
Second.
second by Alder Stevens. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that passes unanimously, and I should say, everything we do here at the committee level is just a recommendation to council. Next Tuesday, it'll be official, 6 o'clock, room next door. Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. You do a good job.
Thanks.
So this 3 or 2.
Okay.
No, not me. Mine's 1, 2, 3.
That's weird.
Yeah. Huh.
Oh, well.
The numbering is off. instead
Yeah,
of clerk
But mine
number
isn't. Why wouldn't they, how can
It
one
was
numbering be
listed-
different from the
Item
other?
1 was listed as 2, and item 2 is listed as 3. I'm not sure why. It just got picked up.
But not on mine.
I don't know.
Let's not think about it.
Yeah.
That's
It'll-
weird.
It'll all even out somehow.
Somehow.
Yeah.
Okay. Item 2, consideration with possible action on general ordinance number 24-19, an ordinance which would create an outright ban on coal tar sealants utilizing model legislation provided by advocacy groups previously discussed at the May 8th Sustainability Commission meeting and on May 21st Common Council meeting. Staff.
So, this, as the agenda item says, was drafted based on model legislation that we had received. They talked about it at Sustainability Commission, so I'm gonna let Celestine talk about that.
Sure. So, the coal tar sealant, or PAH, this is a product that is used in parking lots and roads to seal. And unfortunately, what it does is it's a toxic chemical that gets into the waterways and diminishes our water quality. Also, and please forgive me if you can't understand me, let me know. I'm still
Those braces
trying to
still?
articulate with my brace, yeah, for like the next year and a half.
Okay,
So,
let me brace me.
so it also is harmful to the people who apply the PAH or coal tar sealant. And so this came to us, lots of people are talking about coal tar sealants. There are a number of communities around Wisconsin, both cities and counties that have actually banned it. The latest one is Sturgeon Bay. Yes. So we have some folks in the audience who know more about it than I do. So what had happened is sustainability, we had talked about it as sustainability, we went to council approved for the law department to work on drafting an ordinance and then also crafting a resolution to go to the state, because we currently do not have a statewide ban. This is community by community, county by county. Also, just for your information, before I would encourage you to open up the floor for interested parties to speak. There are a lot of retail outlets that no longer sell this, so the coal tar sealant is actually something that is gradually going away, and our ban would actually essentially allow our city to say that this is harmful to the environment, it's harmful to the human beings who are applying it, it's harmful to the people, the human beings who are near it, breathing in the dust. So we would like to ban its application and use.
And
Anything else from staff before we open the floor?
yeah, so just the version that is in the agenda packet, in the enforcement section, which is the last provision of the draft ordinance, we
That's what you.
reached out to the League of Wisconsin Municipalities, and they expressed some concern about the max fine in there, which was $10,000, which in her opinion would border on punitive rather than a civil forfeiture, and we're not allowed to do anything that would be like a criminal punishment, because that is obviously something that's left to the state. So based on my conversation with her, we amended the that last provision for the commercial application of the sealant products. Would be, there's a kind of a tiered system, so there's a range for the first violation, a range for a second violation within 2 years, and then a third range for 2 or more previous violations within the past 7 years, which would increase the fine amount each time. So just wanted to explain why the version that we handed out to you today is different than the version that's in the packet.
Just real quick, what, the $10,000, where did that number?
That was in
come
the model
Was it the model one?
policy that, or the model ordinance that we have been given.
from? Okay, thank you.
Any questions for staff or anything before we open the floor?
We'll make a motion to open the floor.
Motion open the floor by Alder Steuer. Second by Alder Vanderleest. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That passes unanimously. The floor is now open. Please step up, anyone who cares to speak on this. State your name and address. And if you haven't filled out a form, please fill out a form before you leave.
You want to go first? I'll go first, good.
Evening.
Good evening. Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, I do have some items to hand out to you.
Okay.
And
Yep, that's
I'll take one.
And then name and address.
sure, my name is John Richards. I represent Clean Wisconsin and Lakeshore Natural Resources Partnership. My address is 1700 North Farwell Avenue in Milwaukee, 53202.
Thanks for coming up. Oh my God.
Yeah, you bet.
Spending the night at your house?
Take 41. 41's better than 43.
Yeah, 43 was getting bad, yeah.
From Hawaii.
We got a great hotel now.
Oh, I know, it's beautiful. Stay there. Yeah. But the items I'm handing out are
Yep.
a fact sheet, also a statement from Jay's Asphalt, who's an asphalt applicator in Luxembourg, who wasn't able to join us tonight because of the weather. I also have a sheet that shows the support for the various findings regarding coal tar sealant, because there has been quite a bit of scientific research done here, and I didn't want to bring you a whole scientific journal, but if you are interested in looking at this in more detail, there's a whole range of scientific studies that have been out there for some time that have been relied upon by the EPA and the U.S. Geological Survey and many others to talk about the need to address coal tar sealants in Wisconsin and around the United States. So I know that the city of Green Bay has been looking at coal tar sealants for several months now. I know the four of you have had a couple of hearings on it. You're probably well familiar with it. So I'm going to give a a brief overview of what we're trying to do and in the interest of time, and then be happy to answer any questions that you have. I'm also joined this evening by John Schneider of Mixtech, another sealant applicator who might be able to provide a little more information about the mechanics of various sealant products. Certainly can provide better.
Speak up
Oh,
a
sure.
little- speak up a little
Sure,
bit.
can provide better
Thanks.
information than I can give on that front. Okay.
Okay.
We are working with communities around Wisconsin and especially along the Lake Michigan shoreline to ban coal tar sealant. We're doing that because the U.S. Geological Survey in several surveys around the country and certainly in Wisconsin found that coal tar sealants create product in the environment that's similar to PCBs and DDTs called PAHs. That stands for polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. So those are a compound chemical that's a compound that stays in the water and in the environment once it's there, does not break down. And the problem is that people who are exposed to PAHs have a cancer risk that is multiple times higher than average. This is especially a big problem for children who play around parking lots that have been treated with coal tar sealant. And it's been found that children who live near those parking lots or driveways have a cancer risk that is 14 times higher than average. That's something that I think gets all of our attention, but I think it's something we can address. What's good about our proposal is that we ban coal tar sealants, but we provide there's an alternative product available under our scheme where if you want to do a sealant job and you want to have something that will cover your driveway or parking lot, there are many, many products available out there that would meet the standards of this ordinance and the other ordinances that we're passing around Wisconsin. So we're not trying to put anybody out of business for sure, and I think it's a testament to our work that some of our most vocal supporters are coal tar, our sealant applicators who've worked with coal tar and had some bad experiences with it and switched to an alternative product because it certainly is safer for them as applicators. They recognize the environmental harm and they see that there's a way to make a living using the alternative products. And so that's happening all around Wisconsin, certainly here in northeast Wisconsin. That's why Jay, as someone I've worked with in committee hearings in Manitowoc, Algoma, Sturgeon Bay, and I know he wanted to be here tonight from Luxembourg, who could tell you directly his experience in northeast Wisconsin with that. So the ordinance forbids this use and sale of coal tar sealant in the city of Green Bay. And it provides a fine for those who violate the law. But what we are stressing to all the communities that pass this is that we understand that you don't have the resources to go out and check on this or to require remediation or be a mini EPA to endorse this law or this ordinance. What we ask is that if the city adopts this ordinance, as I hope you do, that you send a notice out to all residents of Green Bay and the sealant applicators that we know are in business in the Green Bay area, to let them know that the city of Green Bay bans the use and sale of coal tar and high pH sealants. Our experience in other parts of the state is that market forces will take care of enforcement of this, and over time, people will stop using it. Ms. Jeffries talked about the need to have a statewide law on this. That is certainly our goal, but we recognize that the state hasn't acted yet. We hope they do, but they haven't acted yet. So we ask that local communities around Wisconsin, especially on the Lake Michigan coastline, take action to make sure that we ban this product that really harms the environment and harms the lake. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. But
Go ahead.
I got several. Well, first of all, thanks, John, for coming up. The ride, are you staying overnight, I hope?
No, going back.
Okay.
Got a car that's
Good
good in the
luck.
snow, so.
All right, well, listen, thanks for coming in. I just have a few questions. You know, I was reading this thing from Jay's Asphalt,
Yeah.
you know, that comment, and they were talking about asphalt emulsion-based sealants. Is there a handle as far as how many there are out there right now, or can you talk a little bit more about that as far as what alternatives are being utilized
Yeah,
right
if
now?
it's okay with you, I'm gonna defer
Well,
to John Schneider
I'll save
about
that question for him
Sure,
then, so
yeah.
I'll leave that alone.
I can tell you there are several.
Okay,
Right.
and okay, that's fine. They were talking about more expensive too. You know, it says costing us a few more pennies. I mean, I suppose a lot of times things come down to money, and I just want to make sure that, you know, the costs, you know, whatever that may be, just as stated, you know, just to have it as information, if nothing else. What communities right now have an ordinance like this that you know of?
Sure, so over the last 2 years, we've been working with communities around the state. So far, we're up to 20 communities that have passed this ordinance. The most recent one was Sturgeon Bay, which passed theirs last week. Before that, the city of Racine did, the city of Oak Creek, and then going up the coast, we have the city of Milwaukee, and all of the large communities in Milwaukee County have adopted the ordinance. The village of Elm Grove in Waukesha County, and then going up, city of Port Washington, city of Sheboygan, city of Manitowoc. And,
So they all have an ordinance right now?
Yes, they do.
Okay. That's good to know.
And I'm proud to say that in just about every community we've been in, the ordinance has passed by a unanimous or nearly unanimous vote.
Okay. That's all I have for now.
Any other questions?
I have a question.
Sure.
On the asphalt, let's say bituminous asphalt material, like the Northeast Asphalt, that, in other words, they sell their product throughout the city for parking lots and roadways and the whole. Does that affect their products as well?
I don't know the pH content of that particular product. The standard that's in your ordinance is 0.1% of PAH volume, so I know there are many asphalt-based sealants that meet that standard, but I don't know.
I'm not talking sealant, I'm talking about actual blacktop. In other words, whether you use blacktop, let's say 4 inches thick. The county has their own plant, for
Right.
example.
Yeah,
county
no,
has
the
a-
blacktop doesn't, I mean, this is a sealant on top of the blacktop,
Okay.
so that's a different product.
Okay,
Yeah, it's got nothing to do with the blacktop.
okay.
Just when the
Just about the
blacktop starts
sealable.
wearing, it gets sealed. This
Are
is-
they using an emulsion type product now? What's the?
For
main-
sealant?
Yes.
I don't know what they use in the city of Green Bay. I can tell you our experience in going to other communities around the state is that when we talk to the DPW directors in those communities, they really to a city have not been using coal tar sealant for some time because they just see it's kind of a hazardous product and it's difficult for people to use.
I had talked to our director, Mr. Grenier, this morning, and he told me that he was checking on if we're using the product right now. He wasn't sure if they were, if they weren't. In other words, on some of the material that we have now. He was going to get back to us by city council. I think he was going to bring in a couple of engineers from, that was going to give us a briefing on the product itself.
Sure.
But,
And I guess one thing I'd draw your attention to is what in your packet is a statement from the Asphalt Sealant Association, I think that's the name of it. It's the industry for dealing with asphalt. And they have in their recommendations for sealant products. And the asphalt industry actually recommends that people not use coal tar sealant on asphalt because it is an inferior product.
and then, just for example, like your outlet stores, let's say Menards and Lowe's and Home Depot, are they selling this type of product, or are they already?
Most of them have stopped selling it, and they stopped selling it some time ago. There are Farm and Fleet or Fleet Farm, one of those two, I believe, is selling it. That's the only one I know of, but we know that Home Depot, Lowe's, Menards have stopped selling it.
Stop selling it.
Huh.
That's good news, too.
So what I hear is that, and John Schneider can talk about this more intelligently than I can, but from the other hearings that we've had around the state, what I hear is that coal tar sealant is something not typically purchased by a consumer. It's usually bought on a wholesale level, and it's often used by people who are doing jobs with kind of these small jobbers who will carry a bucket of coal tar behind their truck and they'll seal your driveway. The problem with that is that very often those jobbers water down their product quite a bit, and it makes the bad part about coal tar sealant, in other words, it sloughs off and creates a health problem, even worse because you have an even thinner layer of that product now that's subject to wear and tear in the sun, and that's just gonna slope off faster and create a bigger hazard.
Thank you very much for your information.
Why would they do that? Water, just money?
Save money.
You got it. Bingo.
We can only assume.
Give that man a cigar.
Assume,
Yeah.
assuming.
For those who still may have some of this nasty stuff around, have we also looked at how they can properly dispose of this stuff? Is there a way to get rid of it?
Sure, I mean, you can, you can treat it like a hazardous waste, and I understand Brown County.
Has a hazardous weight.
Yeah, it has a hazardous waste spot, so they can dispose, I'm assuming they can dispose of it there, although I have not called Brown County's waste disposal people to directly confirm that, but I suspect that's the case.
We do have someone from the county on our sustainability commission. He did say they would have to work on that. They're used to dealing with small quantities. If someone came in with the large quantities, they would work out something, but I just wanted to get it on record.
No, I appreciate that. Appreciate that, yeah.
I'm good for now.
Good, good. Anything else?
No, that's it. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
That's true.
Anyone else?
Hi, thank you for your time. Hi, my name's John Schneider. I'm gonna grab my stuff here. I'm a little nervous. This is not something I do every day.
You don't have samples of the stuff, do you?
I do not, no.
Good, good,
Okay,
good.
so,
And you just need your address too.
Okay, it's 212 West 3rd Street is actually the business address. Do you want my personal address?
I believe personal, right?
What's third, where's that?
Necedah, Wisconsin is our,
Necedah.
and actually I own and manufacture a product that is got 0.0 PAHs in it. We've been doing this this is my 4th year producing the product. The product itself has been around for 25 plus years. It was developed in Reno, Nevada. One of the things that coal tar,
Thanks a lot.
when it's hot, it can create more burns for the skin. So down south, they've started to adopt asphalt emulsion sooner because the heat down there had really started to burn the people who were applicating the product, and so it's been there's been a good push down there for some of that. Not everybody has switched over, but it's certainly one of the precursors to people wanting to switch. I'm going to just mention, you had a couple of questions that I can answer pretty quickly. First of all, disposal, you had asked, is this going to be an issue? It shouldn't be an issue now, because in wintertime, most everybody has gotten through all of their sealer. They don't typically store this product over the winter. They would have gotten rid of the product already, and they do a pretty darn good job forecasting what they need, so they don't have big tanks full of the stuff. So passing an ordinance like this over the winter can prevent some of that from happening.
They won't restock.
Yeah, they will not be restocking it. Also, there was a comment about coal tar and how it affects pavement. Actually, this is an asphalt emulsion, so it's an emulsion product that's got asphalt in it. So it's very similar to the asphalt itself in its general makeup, and it's got a higher solids content than coal tar would be. And if you think of cheap paint versus bad paint, the higher the solid content is, it's a better product. And because of that solid content, it lasts a little longer, it moisturizes the pavement better, and it actually creates more longevity. When it comes to cost, yes, asphalt emulsion is a bit more expensive. It's about 1% to 8% more expensive depending on the type of surface that you're dealing with. However, it can create a longer life cycle for your pavement, so in the end, it actually is a cost reduction if you're really doing a good job with it. There are some certainly known benefits of the product, asphalt emulsions. First of all, they don't burn your skin. They do not have these harmful PAHs in them. And they really are a long-term asphalt moisturizer that can prolong the life of the asphalt. Some of the coal tar counter points that we hear is, first of all, that it is a higher cost. And yes, to some degree, per gallon, it can be a higher cost. It doesn't always have to be that way, but to some degree, it can be. We actually represent one of the more premium products in the marketplace, and ours is a bit higher cost. There are multiple manufacturers throughout the region that provide a PAH-free asphalt emulsion. So there's about 5 of them that provide these products, some of them better than others. But they are very
You said 5?
Yeah, I believe there's 5 that supply the area. Not all of them are actually in Wisconsin, but they all send product to Wisconsin. Some of the reluctant people who are reluctant to change, They also are the manufacturing coal tar. So some of these guys that are not wanting to go, they also manufacture asphalt emulsion, and they also manufacture coal tar. So they're pushing to not have one of their other products go away, and I can understand why. That makes fiscal sense for them. The thing that we're seeing in the science behind this, and there's been some opposition science saying that PAHs don't cause the harm that or aren't contacting the individual or the stream, or that they're not causing that much harm. That science is really starting to be silenced. Over the last couple of years, they have not been putting out new information, because the bottom line is they know that these PAHs are highly carcinogenic, and there is about 700 times more of a concentration in coal tar than there is in any other product that has been already banned. They've banned these in hygiene products and like hairsprays and that kind of thing, and they were at like 0.01%, a very small fraction of what percentage coal tar has in it. So this is a much higher concentration than in other areas that have already been limited. There's a liability risk that comes along with coal tar that now is starting to introduce itself. Whether you're a property owner, a business owner, and you are putting a known carcinogen on your parking lot, eventually there are going to be class action lawsuits that get filed against the people who are actually having it on their parking lots. As a landowner, as a property owner, it's something that I'm aware of, and making sure that I'm not opening myself up to any more liability than needs be. Certainly that's down the road, but in Minnesota, which has already banned coal tar statewide, they are already having class action lawsuits from cities and municipalities that are suing the coal tar industry for allowing this material to go down for such a period of time, and they're trying to get them to clean out some of these retention ponds and waterways that have been so highly contaminated.
So the state of Minnesota banned,
Minnesota is completely coal tar free.
and Wisconsin hasn't.
Wisconsin has not. Dane County passed an ordinance 5 or so years ago that it's been coal tar free for that long, and honestly, the seal coating there has been a good boom. There's a lot of business in there, and people, once they make this switch, it's amazing how much I get clients who come to me and they're like, man, I wish I would have made a switch earlier, because the way that it affects their employees, especially on days, the smell that comes off, the asthma that it can create, the breathing problems that it can have, they've found a lot of those to go away. And I've got other clients who don't buy our sealant, but they buy other products from us, and they still buy coal tar, and they swear by coal tar. They don't want to make that switch. So I'm not saying that there aren't people out there that don't like that product still, but I think a lot of that is simply, it's kind of the old boys club. They just have been doing it for so long that it makes a lot of sense for them to stay. And when it comes down to retooling your business to actually handle coal tar or asphalt emulsions or other sealants that are low PAHs, there is really very little to no cost to switch over. Sometimes they'll switch the size of the tip on their spray wands, because these products are a little thicker. They've got a little bit more, they have a higher solids content, so they need to be able to get that solid out of a wider tip. Filter baskets have to be changed, but we're talking about very minimal cost to make a switch over. That's pretty much all I have in general. Is there questions for me that I can answer?
Yes,
I have
go ahead.
one question. How does your product, in other words, where they've used this coal tar patch over a parking lot, how does your product adhere to what, in other words, where they actually use the old?
So we have no problem with the compatibility of our product over coal tar sealants.
In other words, I'm talking about they had used the coal tar.
Yeah, correct. And then they come over top and they put our sealant on top of it. We've had no problems with that. I have heard in the industry that some people have had some issues with that compatibility. My guess is that it's more of an application problem than it was the sealant itself. But I don't have data on that for everybody else's sealers. But we do not have an issue with it.
Also, where they plow parking lots and things, they dig, they dig right down in the blacktop. They're moving a lot of this product right off the surface,
Yeah, I mean, we haven't had, again, in that area, we don't have a lot of problems. I think the biggest issue that you're going to find with asphalt emulsion sealants versus coal tar sealants, coal tar sealants are a bit more versatile in weather conditions. If it gets really cold at night or rains and that coal tar sealant went down earlier in that day, it's possible that it could survive maybe a bit better than than a asphalt emulsion. However, if you were to put additives enhance the ability for all sealants to work, and a lot of times people are using those for coal tar as well as asphalt emulsions. So if you know that there's a chance of rain or a chance of it getting colder, you can use a fast dry product, which is basically a polymer that just sucks the moisture out. There's plenty of products out there that don't increase the cost dramatically, but can protect the applicators from potential failures. And they're already using these. These are not something that they only have to use for asphalt emulsions, but certainly asphalt emulsion does have, there's a little bit more finicky, it's a bit more finicky to put down, only because of the solids content. Obviously, if there's more solids in something, it takes a little bit more time to dry out. And so you just need to know what you're dealing with. The other issue is a lot of times people who are using coal tar sealants are used to putting 50% water in because they can get away with it and it won't fail right away. There's still a spec for 30% water for coal tar, just like ours. Ours is actually 25% water is the max that we like to push it. With colder environments, we actually trim it back even a little bit further when it gets to be late fall or early spring. But there's definitely that water hose, if you do that with asphalt emulsions, they do not perform when they're 50% water. They will just wash away. And so educating them on not using the water hose to make money, because the reality is if they're doing that with coal tar, they're cheating the client as it is anyway. They're removing the solids by diluting the product. And although it still works, it's not going to work as well, and it's really just something that's cheating their clients. And you don't see it all the time, but it is something, this industry would probably benefit from some licensing. The good guys out there, the reputable contractors, don't do that. They understand that the value is in their name, but there are a lot of people that come into state and buy sealants that are just available wherever it is, and don't do everything by the book. And they're the ones that are giving the sealant and the industry in general any sort of bad name.
Now, does your product come in 5-gallon pails? Like, just for example, like homeowners, you see a lot of homeowners in the summertime, they're doing their driveways.
Yeah. So we sell 5-gallon buckets out of our facility, but we don't have distribution throughout the state of Wisconsin. There are companies already that have product in Home Depot and Menards that are 0.0 PAHs. They also have additives there for fast drying. So that is something that's available today. Most of those stores do not sell high PAH sealants anymore, both for the liability of themselves and for the environmental risk that it poses.
Okay, that answers all my questions. Thank you very much for your information.
Jackson?
Yes. Thanks for coming in, John.
Thank you.
Very informative. I'm not
Oh,
done
more?
yet.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I thought you said
No.
I got a few too.
Maybe I gotta hold my head up.
Yeah.
Anyway, you were talking about, I'm looking at it from the state standpoint, where Minnesota banned it, Wisconsin hasn't. In your estimation or in your experience, what, to me, it would seem better if the state would do it. You know, I mean, locally, I mean, you're going after each individual local establishment, that's difficult sometimes. And I'm just wondering, what is your experience with the state of Wisconsin as far as why this is happening, and what, just in your experience?
Yeah, so I have to say, I can't speak too intelligently on that. I don't know too much about it. But what I do know is that sometimes it's hard to get a larger ball rolling like that. And it seems that there is a lot of local support for this to be banned. And sometimes in larger government institutions, it's just harder to get it moving. And I think from what I understand from Clean Wisconsin is that they do have some pretty good support now that it's likely going to move forward. I would guess that it's going to be within the 18 months to 2 years or something like that. But I know that process is quite a bit longer. I think just seeing this happen on a local level is also pushing them. So I think one hand is kind of helping the other move along. And I honestly, for my own business in general, we're a small company that really, there's the 800-pound gorillas out there that are making this product, and that will likely sweep into town when this is all done and when it's a statewide product. For me personally, I like to be able to reach out to each individual community and talk to them about the benefits. So I'm really supportive of the fact that it's actually going to community, because it gives me a chance to talk to the municipalities about what it is that this product can do for them.
Okay, good answer for that, thank you. I heard before that once this gets in the water, it's very difficult to get out. Do you know anything about that?
I just know that what it takes is you have to dredge it out of and it's not, it's a very expensive process to do that. I don't know if it's, if it was me and just kind of speaking, off the cuff, if it was me, I probably wouldn't remove it, because I think by the time it's down there, it might be safer than trying to get it out. I don't know scientifically if I'm accurate there, but it seems like it would be a very disruptive process. And certainly in some areas like retention ponds where you don't have people swimming and you're not, there's not a bunch going on there, I think maybe that's a reasonable place to do it. But once it's in the Fox River, it's probably a bigger issue, and I know that the Fox River did a cleanup here not too long ago, so hopefully some of that has already been removed and you just did it without knowing, and you don't have to go through it again.
Okay.
Well, thanks a lot. No, I
Good.
can't, I gotta stop swimming in the retention ponds now.
That explains a lot. Anyway, I'm good, thank you.
Okay, and that segues into my question, which was, you had talked about going over the tars, ash tar, ash. So you don't see any need to remove the old to put on the new?
Unfortunately, no, because really by removing it, I think you're going to cause more contamination. And truly, this product, and one of the reasons that the product coal tar should be banned, is because it does wear off. It goes on, it's only going to be there for a few years, and then it's gone. And the worst, whether it's environmental conditions or pavement conditions or maybe application was bad, the worse any one of those three criteria are, the faster that's going to come off. And not only does it release PAHs as it's wearing up, but it also aromatically will release PAHs. So fresh coal tar, when children are playing over those lots, they're getting those those vapors coming off. So it's certainly something that it's kind of a no-brainer, I think, in our world to be able to make this product go away, or at least steer it in the direction to have it be removed, because it does propose a significant health risk.
I had one other question. Let's say let's say they put the asphalt down. And I suppose it depends on the establishment or the place, but when normally would you put the sealant on? When things are starting to wear down, or soon after?
It's a great question.
When do you do it?
So typically with coal tar, you do not put any sealant on until at least 1 year after you lay the pavement. With asphalt emulsion, we can go on almost immediately. Typically, I say 3 months is a good window. It does instantly seal and moisturize the pavement, so you can do that and actually get more longevity. Typical application is 1 to 2 years after you put down the pavement for new. Just because for cost basis, I think people just are like, why would I cover up my brand new pavement? And so it's a difficult thing for them to swallow, and I can see why.
Right, okay, well, so it's partly economics, but, if there was a scientific statement saying that, we should do it 9 months after, 3 months after, it would just be nice to have.
Well, there's been advancements in asphalt emulsions as well, where they're making a slurry seal that you can use for roadways in place of chip sealing. And so municipalities are starting to actually slurry coat their roadways instead of doing chip sealing, and it removes the rock issue that you get with a lot of the chip seals. Are you familiar with chip sealing?
I think so.
Okay, yeah, it's basically they put an emulsion down. That's a very similar emulsion to ours.
You're talking about potholes, right?
No,
Oh,
so
okay.
so chip sealing is actually, if you've ever seen like the stones that are scattered all over the road and they're just like these little pebbles,
Yeah.
and initially what they do is they put an asphalt emulsion down that is drying fairly quickly, and then they take stones and they scatter them over the entire roadway, and they do this mostly on county roads. You don't see it a lot on city roads, but occasionally in like neighborhoods just on the outside of town you'll see it. And really what happens is they end up kind of almost repaving the road to some degree with these little stones and the sealer that's there. Instead of doing that and having the issue of these stones all running off into the gutters and chipping windows, and that's kind of the problem that happens, is we actually come in and do a slurry seal that dries within 1 day. So they shut down half the road and they just keep it open, and you only do like a mile at a time. And it's about half or a third of the cost of chip sealing and can actually prolong the life. So that's happening quite a bit in the southern and west part of the country, and it's just kind of making its way here as we're learning about these processes.
When you say southern and western, I mean, generally they're warmer climates.
Correct.
So how does that affect us here?
So the issue that's we're faced with is just simply because our cold weather shuts down the season as it does. Everybody's cramming their work into 6 months. It's really 5.5 months, depending on a good year. Maybe we get 6.5 months. And the reality is that's just sealants. Whether it's coal tar or otherwise, that's just the way that it works. We are actually working on enhancing our product just like every other asphalt emulsion company, I'm sure is. In fact, we did a roadway in Necedah, Wisconsin, when it was just over, it was 50 degrees and it froze that night, and the roadway is holding up really good. So we're doing some tests. In fact, we have a picture of that. It was one of this first one right here.
That one?
So that is just sealer on a roadway. And it looks, that was done early in the spring, and then we came back and had done testing, but I mean, it almost looks like it's fake in that picture. I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
so,
It'll wear down eventually.
yeah, and it certainly will. That's taken pretty close to, a day or so after that it dried. But it is, certainly the length of the season is part of the issue that we're going to be faced with no matter what sealant we have. And the longevity will be extended by technology. There's no question about it. They're already making additives that are toxicity-free and that can extend and dry. Really what we're looking for is to get the sealer to dry and cure as quickly as we can before it gets too cold. And then once it freezes, it's not going to adhere the way it should.
Thank you. Thanks for that.
Another question on, when they recycle, there's a lot of areas they'll take the parking lot right out. They'll start over and they'll take it. I know Northeast Asphalt, they have a huge stockpile of it, and they'll incorporate that maybe 20% of that old asphalt into the new product.
Yep.
So basically, when they do that, they're pretty much encapsulating everything when it goes through their burner and everything like that.
Yep, they're regrinding it. In fact, this is one of the benefits. You were talking about getting rid of toxic waste. There is none. With us, when we go and clean our tanks and go clean out or assist our people in cleaning out tanks and spot tanks around the 2 states, we represent Minnesota and Wisconsin. All that goes into just a big bulk container, and we can bring it to asphalt plants all around the state. They take it for free, they grind it up, and they use it as recycled asphalt. So it's eliminating the waste that even needs to be recycled. I mean, it's not going back into some toxic dump. It's literally going right back onto our roads. So it's a really great process as far as how it affects the environment overall.
Thank you.
Did I'm sorry, I apologize. You want to ask it anyway? Anything else?
I'm good for now.
Anything else you care to add?
So we're just one of the seal coaters in general have started to make this switch already. There are some that are reluctant, and that's just kind of the way that the world works, right? So it's not that if you were to make this change, people wouldn't be aware of where to get this and what product, how to do it. It's already happening in the marketplace. And I think this is a testament to, there's no other seal coaters here objecting to this. Probably most likely because they kind of all know what's coming. There's certainly some that would probably want to be here, maybe would want to object, but the reality is, I think everybody in this industry understands this is happening. So I don't think you're too far ahead of the mark that you're going to get a lot of pushback. Certainly you're going to get some, but I wouldn't think you're going to get a ton. And that's the only one I can have on. So great. Guys, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No, thank you.
You said you were
Yeah, I mean,
nervous.
this is great. You came
across for-
Yeah, I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All our travelers here. Thank you very, very much. Anyone else care to speak on this?
Is this about the,
Coal tar?
yes. I just,
If you could please
Stand up
fill
and
out the form when you get a chance, but state
Sure.
your name and address.
Hi,
sure.
Andy.
Hi, how are you? So, I'm here to.
But your name and address first.
Sure, my name is Andrew Waterman, and I live on 1222 Hastings Street.
Okay.
And I'm here to go on the record that I would like this to be banned in our area, and I know it's been banned in other areas. And I am a Green Bay public school teacher, so I'm on playgrounds a lot with little kids, and I work for Head Start, and we just put in a new parking lot 2 years ago, and I know we're going to put in a new one in Jefferson School because the school's getting switched over to Head Start, and they need a bigger parking lot and a playground. So I'm just here saying, hey, let's not have this product there, even if it's not banned, to kind of get a more awareness of the product, if more people that know about that it's not such a good idea, that will go to the other product. Maybe it's not as strong, I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm not a scientist, I teach 3 and 4 year olds. So, so I'm more here about other people telling me that it's a bad thing, and thinking that, yeah, maybe it's an easy fix. Okay.
Well, Andy, I was going to ask you real quick. So you've been a teacher for quite some time, and you've seen kids on playgrounds and that. Have you ever noticed any things that have happened to the children over time, or I mean, it's kind of hard to.
Right. It would be
Differentiate,
hard for me to
you know.
notice that.
Right.
I mean, I work with special ed kids within the regular ed school. That's my job. So I feel some of my children may have had toxic things, or their parents, and that's part of the reason they might have some delays or whatever. But again, I'm not
That's
a
just
doctor.
speculating, yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I'm sorry, I can't. Don't
Well, that's
know.
okay.
But I do know kids scrape their selves on playgrounds
Oh.
and lick playgrounds and crawl all over playgrounds and we're shoveling
I'm in
snow
trouble.
and the kids are eating the snow that's on the playground. You know, we try to keep them not to do that.
Yeah.
But, and sometimes chunks of the stuff is broken off and kids are carrying it around in the sandbox. Not so much at our playground now because it's new. So,
Yeah. Well,
anything else? Well, thank you for your hard work.
Thank you.
I'll
Thank you.
fill this out and where do I put
And
it?
then just right here.
In it right there.
Yep,
Okay.
I
thank
just saw
you.
Chris the other day too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's good to see you.
Yep, go ahead, yep.
I just wanted to mention one thing that came to mind. There is no PAH in any asphalt itself. So
Right, it's
so
the sealant.
You had mentioned about asphalt plants, and asphalt itself does not contain PAHs, it's only the sealants that.
Yep, yep,
Thank you.
yep. But those
We're all
playgrounds will get
The
resealed.
sealant,
Sealant.
so that's,
Yeah.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying
Educated.
they need to be cement, that's
Getting
my
educated
understanding
here.
too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yep. Anyone else on this?
Motion to close the floor.
Motion to close the floor by Alder Steuer, seconded by Alder Stevens. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Floor is now closed. Gentlemen, what are you thinking?
I thought it was a very, very well stated, you know, thank you for all your input on this. You know, I think one of the things is, as alders, you know, we get a lot of information over time on a lot of different topics, so there's a lot here. And at first blush, I feel this is very important. But Alder Vanderleest mentioned that he's talking with our Public Works Director as well, and just trying to find out, you know, just gathering the data. So a lot of times with these type things, whether it seems like a slam dunk, I think it's still important that we gather data all the way around. So I'm in that mode right now. I'll be doing some reading this weekend. But it was very well presented. I commend all of you for, you know, some great comments, and I will study this very diligently. So, thank you.
I did talk with
Director Grenier.
Dr. Kinnear, and he was gonna bring in an engineer and some other people, I think, from Schrober, you know, engineering,
Mhm.
and we were gonna discuss it. In other words, he was gonna have it for the city council meeting coming up.
So we should get it to council, so we should send it forward with a recommendation.
Yeah, it definitely needs to be discussed, I think, at council, I feel. So, is there something else to make?
That was the information that he gave me, and
Can we make
he was
a-
gonna check to see if the city of Green Bay is using any of the product at all, if it's in any of the products that we're using at this point right now.
Yeah.
He was gonna check on that.
If
as
it
well.
is, I would like us to stop immediately.
Wow.
But that'll be the discussion then.
So how do you want to,
Well,
because we got a third point.
I'll make a motion that we recommend adopting the law. And once that gets to council, we can have that discussion and then make any amendment or kick it back to committee or whatever we need to do then.
If you're making the
Second, so I, motion by
Hold on a
Alder
second.
Randy to adopt the ordinance, and seconded by Alder Stevens.
I was going to see if law would weigh in on that at all.
Well, they
before we
kind of
do it.
did with the beginning. I don't know if there's
Yeah.
anything else?
Yeah, sorry, I just wanted to check and make sure, because the one will.
The amended, as amended.
The revised
Yes.
draft that we presented.
Yeah,
to
the
you.
draft as amended.
Yep.
Yep.
So we have a motion, do we have a second?
Yes, Alder Stevens.
Okay.
Thank you. Just to approve.
Mhm.
To approve.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Be one nay. I'm only saying nay until I hear
Oh,
from.
should we do it on the,
Well,
From,
Yeah, we can do that.
Mr. Grenier.
yep, yep, yep.
well, it'll still be discussed.
Yeah, and we can make our final choice at city council
Mhm.
when he brings the information. It's too bad Mr. Grenier wasn't here tonight.
Yeah.
If
Probably.
it was a 2-2
But he
vote,
is
it would die.
gonna check with
But it's
you know,
It's-
bring some representation.
Oh, how-
If it was, I'm
If it
just-
was,
From the
it would be a
engineers
motion
and-
failed, yes. But
Well,
It's
then
gonna
it's-
be
I want
there,
it to move
he'll be there at city council, so.
So we're gonna vote?
Yes,
Yeah.
it should start, if it didn't.
Yeah, I don't want
It
it.
didn't.
I started,
No.
Mhm.
no?
Nothing up here
Nope.
yet.
No, no, no.
Okay.
It's like
And we will
watching.
log it manually. Alder Stevens,
Yes.
Alder Vanderleest,
It'd be a nay till I hear more information from
Mhm.
our
Mhm.
engineer.
Alder Steuer,
I'll say yes.
and Alder Scannell.
Aye.
All right, that passes 3-1. With Alder Vanderleest voting nay.
Yep. Okay, thank you. And then, like I said at the beginning, this will be taken up at council, and that's what it'll become. And if it does pass at council, then we have to go through, that'll be the first reading. To be law, it'll have to go through a second reading, so it'll be at our second meeting that it would actually become law and take effect. So a little bit of a process yet.
When's the next meeting, is that Wednesday?
Next Tuesday, 6 o'clock, right next door. So.
Is it recommended that we come to that too?
Yes.
Well, if you could make it, it would be super. I mean, I really appreciate it. I mean, I know I hate to burden you like that, but it would be fantastic if you could. But otherwise, we'll try. You know, I mean, you give us a lot, we'll pick up the slack
I'll
for
do
you.
my best
But
to be there.
yeah, thank you. On to item 3.
Yep.
Consideration of possible action on a resolution advocating for a statewide ban on coal tar sealers, which would be sent to the Wisconsin State Legislature, previously discussed at the May 8th Sustainability Commission meeting and the May 21st Common Council meeting. Staff, we have the resolution here, right, and it's in our packet. Everyone got to
So-
look at that, or?
Does one preclude the other? I mean, it's just another.
No,
You know-
even if we didn't accept, thank you.
Can I talk on that?
Oh, I will,
well,
on this, on the resolution?
Yes, if you have. public
Yep,
comment.
we'll
We'll open the floor.
Yep, we'll open the floor.
So nothing in the resolution specifies that Green Bay has an ordinance like this or anything like that, so it's not contingent on us having passed the ordinance first or anything like that. So we can send them both, and even if council decides not to pass the ordinance at this time, the resolution could still go through, or vice versa, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. So, anything else from staff?
No, I think it's,
Yep,
it's reasonably self-explanatory. A lot of the scientific findings about the dangers that we've discussed tonight are included in the resolution. We also note that other communities and states have outright bans, and then we just advocate that the state legislature also institute a statewide ban.
Where is it?
It's, we don't have a, we don't have a hard
We don't have a
copy.
hard copy.
Would you-
We don't have a
It's
copy, it's
in
just
the
in our
agenda
packet.
Never mind.
Yeah, but, motion to open the floor. Motion by Alder Stevens to open the floor.
Second.
Second by Alder Steuer.
Okay.
All in favor? Well, just give her time.
Aye.
Yeah, aye, and that passes unanimously. The floor is now open. If you just state your name and address again, you don't have to
Sure.
fill out another form.
Thanks. John Richards for Lakeshore Natural Resources Partnership in Clean, Wisconsin of 1700 North Farwell, Milwaukee. So the resolution that you have before you, I hope you adopt, and this is the city of Green Bay going on record asking the state legislature to pass a statewide ban on coal tar sealants. And we are trying to pass this ban in this legislative session, but the legislature doesn't meet very often from now until next legislature. sometime.
These days, not so often.
Well, I mean, and that's typical in any legislature, no matter who's in charge. That's just how that place works. And so we have a narrow window of time between now and February where we're hoping to pass this. We have a couple of legislators that have said they're interested in working on it. They haven't come forward yet, but we're hoping that this will move forward and that the legislature will take this up with the wide variety of things they're doing on dealing with clean water this year. To their credit, I really appreciate that. I'm glad they're doing that. We're hoping that they'll take this up as well. It's no guarantee they're going to pass it, but we are going to all the communities that have passed this ban in the last 2 years to ask them to go on record to urge the legislature to take this action, but you certainly don't have to have a ban in place to go on record asking for the state to do it.
John, thanks again. Are there names of certain legislators, it's hard to say, that you worked with on this issue at all? Or
Well,
are
they
you more or
haven't-
less trying to gather the support and then hopefully some
We have a
of
couple that are kicking the tires pretty hard. They haven't come out publicly endorse
They
it
have.
yet, so I don't want to get
Mhm.
All right, I'm
He's
just-
there on that,
just
but
checking.
we do have people that are really into it.
If you just whispered.
Yeah, we'll tell everybody.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, okay,
So, yeah.
well, that's fine, that's fine, thank you.
Anything else?
That's it.
Any other questions?
Great, thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Motion to close the floor.
Motion?
Motion by Alder Steuer to close the floor.
Second.
Seconded by Alder Van der Leest. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The floor is closed. I see no reason why we wouldn't go forward with this, especially, this also can be taken up at council at the same time. I think, I'm for the ordinance, I'm for the resolution. I don't know why we wouldn't go forward, even if we're still using this stuff, thank God, I hope we're not. But if we are, we should be figuring out a way to stop using it pronto and get rid of what we got or whatever, this is not good stuff. We should take some action on this, I believe, and so I would
I'll make a motion to approve.
make a motion to approve by Alder Steuer. I will second that. So a motion by Alder Steuer to approve the resolution, seconded by myself. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
One day until I hear from our chief engineer.
Yep.
Thanks.
Perfect, then we'll vote.
We're gonna try this again.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Did it go this time?
it went.
That
Okay.
did?
Yeah, I got it.
Let them, no, let them get it.
No, okay, we'll do a roll
Alder
call.
Stevens,
Sure, yeah.
Alder Vanderleest,
It's a day till I talk to the
Yep.
engineer.
Did mine show up?
Alder Steuer,
Yes.
Mine showed up.
and Alder
Well, you're
Scannell showed up
special.
as, yes, so that passes 3-1.
Okay.
I hate to be the naysay.
No, that's,
We,
I understand where you're coming from. That's fine.
It's just that if it was 2-2 at that.
I can understand that
Right.
it
So-
sounds
so
like
you
it's
want-
not a
that's
good
good.
product.
Yep.
Like it's not a very good product at
Nope.
all.
Thank you.
Business,
Have a great trip back.
Yeah,
I hope you got some good reindeer.
Farwell, I used to hang out, I went to school, I went to UWM for a couple of years. so I know the area
I
well.
have to update those forms. Thank you very much.
Hooligans.
We ready?
Andy, take care.
Yep, thank you. Anyone, we ready to move on, or? Okay, informational. The liquor violation report for December 9th, 2019. Staff.
Through that time, we had no liquor violations or ordinance violations, but we did have one property referral. There was a disturbance at Friends Bar
Where's that?
on University Avenue, across from,
Oh,
I still call it Lindy's, the old Lindy's
Ah.
grocery store.
Yeah, I know what you're talking.
let's
Wait a
change
minute.
names a couple.
It's not Lindy's anymore?
No, I still call it Lindy's, but it's University Avenue Market, I believe.
Oh, maybe I knew that.
We went there to ask for video, per their stipulation agreement, they did not have the video, so we did a property referral. Essentially, it was a warning to them to make sure they get their cameras up and running per the agreement.
So it was one major disturbance of some sort?
Yeah, the patron was cited for battery.
Oh, okay.
In other words, they didn't have the cameras working inside the facility?
Correct,
You see?
correct,
They needed batteries?
yes.
Motion to place on file.
Motion to place on file by Alder Stevens,
Second.
second by Alder Vanderleest. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? That's received and placed on file. Thank you very much, Officer Mahoney, that was very good. Are we ready for the second informational?
Yep.
Report from the Water Utility Department regarding the lead pipe removal project.
No comments.
We got the
It's just
PDF,
another
right?
update from the water utility.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
just
got the PDF. They're making progress. I don't know if they really need to come even. I mean, we can see
No,
from the, we're moving, we're getting closer. We're getting there.
So, what percent are we at?
I definitely supported that.
Yeah.
I put it on record that I supported removal of all those lead pipes.
Yeah.
Right.
And the state gave some money, and so did the city, and so did the county.
We got 15 remain to be replaced.
I can't.
And this public side is down to 300.
All those things just popped up on my screen.
I can't vote
yes.
I can't.
Oh, yeah. Oh, did they?
Is this,
Bit of a delay.
is that as far as it goes?
No. Oh.
Well, it's not working.
You're stuck. Get the lead out, will
I'll
you?
get the.
Huh.
I was
Green
trying
Bay
to-
Water spent a ton of money on it as well. They removed pipes that were 4-inch diameter, lead.
Well, I make the motion to place on file.
Motion to receive and place on file by Alder, here, you want to see mine?
Oh, that's fine. I mean, I'll second it.
Where did mine go?
That's fine.
Seconded by Alder Stoyer. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oppose it? Okay, that's received and placed on file. I think we need an aria or two before we, hang on when they're ready. Right, I'll take a motion to
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Alder Stoyer, seconded by Alder Vanderleest. All in favor? Aye. We are adjourning. Thank you one and all. Good job.
Thank you.
I would have bet $1 you would say adjourn it. When I won, nobody's gonna pay me on that. So when,
The joys of being
police
an Alder.
department, when's the event, you know?
So,
11 to
our-
1.
our cookout?
Meeting.
On the 20th,
20th, yeah.
What day is that?
Friday.
Oh, no, you froze him like I was.
Always enjoy that.
Yeah, it's a good time.